So good morning, everyone. This is Lowell Ann. I'm the moderator of Being Your Own CEO. And this morning we decided to do this as a Hangout on Air, which is a little bit different from the way we've operated in the past. But I wanted everybody to see the difference between a Hangout, a straight Hangout, and a Hangout on Air. So I see a number of people that were invited to come into the green room with us, but I can see that they're watching, but they haven't sort of come in. So we decided to start the broadcast and see what happens. So welcome Cheryl and welcome Larry. Would you both like to introduce yourselves and say a little something about the business you're in? Cheryl, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Cheryl Ralph, and the business I'm in is helping people. I love to help people. I was a physiotherapist, gone through doing energy work, which I still do, and now I'm working with a direct sales skincare line, first of its kind with some exclusivity. I love it, and I love all the women I'm helping. And I'm trying to learn more about online marketing.
Right on. Thank you, Cheryl. And you, Larry?
I'm Larry Earnhardt. My business is Alchemy Business Consulting, and I'm a small business consultant coach. And I work with businesses to try to help them improve their profitability, to try to get past the things that keep them from growing and getting past the little mundane things that sort of hold us back from becoming the businesses we know we can be.
Right on. And Larry did quite an interesting presentation for hosts last week. Do you want to say a little something about that, Larry?
Sure.
Are you working on part 3?
Absolutely. So I've got a process that I'm developing, and that basically it's talking about what makes up profit in a business. Because you can break profit down into components that you can influence, and by influencing those parts in small ways and increments, you can very dramatically improve the bottom line of your business, the profits, which is basically what you're looking for if you're in a business. So I give a talk at Host. The first one was on prospecting, generating more prospects for your business. And the particular talk I was giving was on how to create a referral-based business. And the one I gave last week was on the second part, which is converting those prospects into customers or sales, how to do the sales end of things. And then there's 3 more parts. One is the price at which you sell your product for, how to go about pricing and improving your pricing. And then repeat business is the 4th part, how to get your customers to come back more often. And then the final component is your profit margin. And it's a measure of efficiency, or how well or poorly you're running your business as far as expenses go, and keeping control over that as well. And when you put them all together and you generate what the profit picture is. And once you have your business at a certain level and you're doing certain activities, generally your profit margin is going to stay the same from month to month, quarter to quarter. The number of prospects in your funnel is going to stay approximately the same. The rate at which you convert prospects to customers stays the same. So unless you do something different, your profitability is, the number of profits in dollars that you earn is not going to change. So the idea is that if you want to take your business up, move it up to the next level, what is it that you will do, or what can you do to influence those aspects of it? How can you generate more prospects, which will sort of go all the way through your system and end up with hopefully more dollars at the other end, for example. And
so that was how to eat an elephant.
How to eat an elephant. So the old joke, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is 1 bite at a time.
Right.
So instead of, if you look at trying to quadruple your profits, which is what I'm asking people to do, normally you'd think, well, I have to quadruple the number of prospects in my system. But the reality is that if you take each one of these little separate components and you you improve it by, say, 10%, and you do that 4 times. So you do, maybe it's a quarterly system, and you improve each of these 5 parts by 10%. You end up actually with more than quadrupling your profits. So it's a way of breaking everything down into little palatable bites. Instead of this giant thing, oh, well, to quadruple my profits, I have to quadruple my prospects. And
Right.
it's a pretty big thing to try to swallow at one point.
So I'm glad you mentioned prospecting, because that sort of leads into the topic that we were going to discuss this morning, prospecting. And Cheryl, you mentioned that you are interested in learning more about social networking and how to do that online. So this morning, what we did. And I'm thinking that some of the people who thought they were coming into the conversation with us are probably sitting out there on the outside watching, because we set this up as a Hangout on Air. And so there are 2 different types of Hangouts. The straight Hangout is like a video call with up to 10 people in the room. And when people get in, see the button that says "Join the Hangout," they come in and they're there. But it works a little differently if you're being involved with a Hangout on Air. You need to be specifically invited into the green room or into the conference room by the moderator. And if you're not specifically invited in, you sit on the outside on the event page, and you're able to observe the conversation as it's happening and as it's being recorded. So, and the way the invitation comes looks quite a bit different from what it looks like when you're just joining a straight Hangout. So earlier, Larry and I were on here earlier, and we were talking about the pros and cons of each of these. You know, joining a Hangout is probably simpler, more easy, straightforward, etc. But that means that it's done, and there are lots of time conflicts that we all experience when we're in business. And so if I'm not available for the Hangout in that specific time frame, then I've missed it. I've missed the boat. Whereas with a Hangout on Air, you can still have the same kind of conversation, but if I'm not able to attend today, maybe I could watch it this evening or tomorrow or whenever. So it allows you to participate, at least hear the conversation, and it does allow you to participate by adding your comments on the event page. So there's where your participation comes in. So and I was mentioning that I belong to a group called the Hangout Helpers, Ronnie Bincer, and I've met people from all over the English-speaking world, and I've gotten to know them well by participating in their Hangouts on Air. And by going and observing the way people do things and so forth. And I was saying that a lot of these people that I met, I'm aware that they've been working in Google Plus probably at least a year more than me, and they're all at that point now where they're beginning to do business together, even though most of them have never met face-to-face, only through participation in a Hangout on Air. So I think it's really important for all of us who really want to gain a better understanding of how all of this works. I mean, first of all, we need to observe how other people are doing it. I mean, that's obvious. Was obvious to me anyway, that I needed to do that before I had the courage to step out there and do it. So, but one of the things that seems to be pretty obvious, and we were chatting about that too, Larry, is that this kind of thing is not a quick fix. It's something that takes a fair amount of time to be able to make that happen. So I'm Cheryl and Larry. I wonder if either one of you had something to say about what it was like to get in here.
Well, I have lots to say about that. I had a really hard time getting in. Usually I get an email from you and I just get in onto the Hangout and there you are.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find you, so I messaged you and you invited me in.
Right.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah, so the difference is when you set up a Hangout on Air, or a straight Hangout, and you invite your circles, it just sends out an invitation. Now, when I set up this Hangout on Air, I did the same thing. You probably did get something, but it was probably some time ago. And when you go to the page, there's no join a Hangout. There's no button there that tells you how to do it.
That's right.
So when I saw your message, I sent you an invitation to come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least I knew to do that.
Yes, and that's perfect that you figured out how to do that. So Larry, what about you? Did you what did you notice?
Well, usually the Hangout or the Hangout on Air is put into my Google Calendar. It automatically saves it because every week you send out a request,
Mm-hmm.
or it comes out automatically to your circles to are you going to join the next Hangout?
Mm-hmm.
So I usually say yes to that, and then it'll automatically put that into my calendar, so I can access it that way. This morning you called me directly, and then my phone was ringing because I have the app, and so my phone was ringing, my computer is ringing, and I'm trying to open up. I've got 3 Gmail accounts open, and I'm trying to find the right Gmail account that's call. So by the time I got to that, started opening it up, the call had ended. So I had to find you on the right hand menu that shows all the contacts that have been made, and I called it back through that. So it's really confusing because it's not, to me it's not obvious, and it's not. It's in some respects it's too many different ways of doing the same thing. And none of them seem to be like a one step. I click on this and it opens it up automatically and takes me there. That I have to do 2 or 3 clicks, or I have to find the right button or link or whatever. And that makes it, I don't know, I just find it a little weird trying to get in.
So, what you're describing, I experienced last week or the week before in Bruce's host Hangout.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me an invitation to come into the green room. This is the green room where we are, and that same thing happened to me. My phone went off, and everything was going off, and I'm trying to figure out how to get in. So it's a slightly different process, and
usually when Bruce sends me those invitations, that my phone starts ringing and I'm out somewhere, and it's inconvenient to deal with it. So.
Yeah, right. So I'm not quite sure how to. I haven't figured out how to manage that thing between your phone and your desktop. So there's something there, but it's so. If those who are watching outside, if you get an invitation to a Hangout on Air, it's important for you to say yes, or maybe, one of the two, and that will actually send, as Larry mentioned, will send a notification to your calendar, your Google Calendar. And that's probably one of the easiest ways to go in, is to just go to your calendar and click on it, and it'll say, do you want to watch this in an event? And you just say yes, and away you go. You end up on the event page. And then but for Hangout on Air, that only takes you to the event page that allows you to sit outside and listen and observe. So in order to get into the conversation inside the green room, I, as the moderator, need to send you an invitation to a video call. And so what you see is one of those little video call things popping up. And you just click on the little video icon up on the front, on the top corner of that little video call. Yeah. So it's a little bit different.
Did you see me outside before you invited me in, or did you just get my text or my message?
I saw the text message.
Okay.
Yeah. So from what I did there was inside my green room here, I sent you an invitation.
Okay.
Yeah. So normally, what I've observed on watching and participating in a lot of other Hangouts is I'll get an invitation, I'll say yes, and what I do, the way I keep track, is I go to the event page. I go into Google Plus, and I go to the event page, and all of the things that I've said that yes, I'm going to go are all listed there. So then I just click on the one that I want to watch. And then if I'm there at the time that it's going to be broadcast and I want to be included in the film strip or in the green room, then I put a little message in the text place. I'd like to join the conversation in the green room. So that's kind of the way it works. But joining a straight Hangout is a little bit different. So,
but they're both the same, and the first time you come, you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah, right. So one thing I wanted to share this morning, I just finished reading David Amerlin's book called Hangouts for Business, and he was talking about the importance, and this goes back to our whole notion about prospecting. He was saying that it's how important it is to set your online identity, and the various ways that you need to do that. And so before you can ever do any sort of business with people in the online world, it's important to set your online identity, and setting yourself up in the Google Plus profile and all of that. But that's only just the very, very beginning. Probably the most important thing about prospecting online or participating in the social media world is consistency. It's not enough to just go in and do something and then leave. You've got to be there all the time, and you've got to be there on a regular basis, and you got to be engaging and connecting and having conversations. So that's the way you set your identity. So I wrote down a few things that he said. He talks about your moral compass, and so he had sort of 5 things that he talked about the first one being courtesy.
Hmm.
And he talked about how that shows up in a hangout. And that, you know, the kind of courtesy that you show anybody the first time you meet them. It's, you know, it's so he talks about courtesy at the highest level. So courtesy as in giving people recognition for the work that they've done, and you know, all of that. Then the next thing he talked about was integrity. And that's a big part of our identity, and we need to set out what we stand for, and it needs to be obvious by our profile and by the things that we say and how we conduct ourselves, etc. And then he talks about perseverance. Setting your goals and sticking with them, being and I guess that goes into what Julie Selby talked about recently at Host, is having a strategy and being really consistent with it, being able to know what you're going to do and doing it on a constant basis. So he calls it, David Amerlin calls it persistence or perseverance. And then the fourth thing he talked about was self-control, and he said this is one of the things that is the most critical. And the way he said it was, quote, "Losing it is inexcusable." So how important it is to use your empathy muscle to understand others and not jump to conclusions and judge people, etc. So I thought that one was kind of interesting, because I've noticed a few times I've been in YouTube, especially, like people put comments in after, and boy, there's such a lack of courtesy there. It's just amazing, where people will say the most incredible things and put people down and so forth. So that self-control and courtesy is really, really important. And and then he talks about the indomitable spirit. So online, it's really it's about being welcoming. And it's also about the fact that when you're trying to get in there and sort of working with people and making things go, then it is a hard nut to crack, and that you just don't don't give up if the first thing you tried didn't work. So, and I mean, some of these things I find. I mean, he's talking about, the things that are important in terms of our online identity. But I mean, all of the things that we've just said have to do with our being in business in general, I think. Yeah. So, and then he talked about again. In terms of your identity, show you are a person first. Take off the sunglasses and connect with your target audience. Empathy is key. Authenticity is a must, and identity is created by the way we behave and the connections that we make and the content that we broadcast. So that was kind of his piece in a nutshell about being in business online. Any reaction to those things?
Well, for me, because I've been online for a little while now with my business, I find that it fits totally everything he says into building a good relationship and being integral, and it's all there. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know how often we need to say it, but I think we need to say it really, really often. is that it is about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And my mother always said, if you can't say anything good, don't say it at all. And it's even more important online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I was listening to something on the radio recently where they were talking about the flaming that young people do, and the online bullying and all of this stuff. I guess it seems to be more prevalent among the younger crowd. But we sure wouldn't want to see anybody trying to do flaming or bullying in any way if we expect to do business online. That's for sure. Yeah. Any reaction from your corner, Larry?
Well, I think it's absolutely right, and all those comments really apply to relationships and business in general, not just online behavior. But as small business persons, we can't afford to be running around offending anybody anyway, because word of mouth does travels pretty fast. And negative things, if you do sort of lose yourself there, and that sort of negativity can really have repercussions on you and your business that just take away any of the good stuff that you do. So you do have to be careful about what you say, how you say it, and all the other aspects of persistence, and that's general marketing principles anyway. So as I outlined in my talk.
Yeah.
Well, and the kind of trouble we get into when we just use our phone and text. A lot of the time, it's not taken properly. So you have to be careful to be really out there and welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, even in video, there's still something lost in the translation. At least we can see each other's facial expressions that you don't have in email or even phone conversations. But it's very easy to misunderstand each other even under the best of circumstances. So it just pays to be doubly on your guard when you're communicating over a medium that can reach so many people without you knowing about who's actually seeing this. So you have to sort of guard your tongue a little bit, and always be on your best behavior. And
that empathy muscle.
Yep.
Really, really, really important. Yeah. So I'm looking at the time. Unless there was something else that occurs to either one of you, I think we've kind of come to the end of the conversation. Anything come up for you, Cheryl, that you wanted to raise?
No, I think you've helped me decide how to get on to these. I'm just wondering about the next one. Is it going to be an air or a regular hangout?
Thank you for asking. Well, I'm sort of inclined to go back to the original hangout, because it seems to be easier for people to come on, and maybe the next time we'll have a conversation about what the people sitting outside, what was their experience as compared to what it was like, what it's like to be inside the conversation. Maybe I'm open to doing it either way, but I would like it to be useful and helpful to our little community here. So I think I'll do the next one as a hangout, and then we'll have some more conversation about whether we want to go with the Hangout on Air. Larry had a suggestion earlier about maybe we could choose to do Hangout on Air when we have a specific, more formal kind of a presentation, and when we want to have just a general conversation, maybe the straight hangout would be more appropriate. So that's one way to look at it, for sure.
Another way I've seen it used in my business is If you're doing a presentation and you want a bit of help from somebody, perhaps Larry or anybody else, the two of you could be presenting and the rest of us would listen and enter through group chat.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what we did last week, wasn't it, Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm sorry I missed it.
Well, it's available. It's recorded, so it's on.
I'll take a look.
Right. So I think we'll close now, and I'll remind everyone this is Lowell Ann. My business is Work Style Lifestyle Consulting, and I'm the moderator of this Being Your Own CEO. And I like to help people figure out how to make the best use of Google products, and I run some workshops in that regard. So we'll say sign off now, and wish you the best until next week at the same time. Bye now.
Thank you.